They told him he had 5 good years left. That was 15 years ago. He's still standing, still speaking, still living. This is Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. A podcast about what happens when life throws you something incurable, and you fight back anyway. Hosted by Bryce. Diagnosed at 40, 15 years into the battle. This is the truth behind the tremor. Let's begin.
Okay, so most people, they just tap on their phones and move on. Me, I try to open up one app and my phone opens up like 5. Trying to text, autocorrect turns, hey, how are you, into help, how are you? Swiping, hope you like random screenshots and accidental likes from 2013. And at this point, if I ever text you something really weird, just know that it was a team effort between me and my phone.
So most people just walk through a doorway, right? Well, me, it's like my feet just saw a do not enter sign. I step forward, but my legs suddenly forget that we agreed on this plan. Of course, I overcompensate and ricochet off the door frame like I'm trying to knock myself into another dimension. And at this point, if you see me hesitating in a doorway, just know that I'm giving my feet a stern talking to.
All right, so most people put on socks in 3 seconds? With Parkinson's, I stretch, I twist, I wobble, I sweat, and maybe get one sock on halfway. It's like my foot's in the witness protection plan and it refuses to cooperate. And by the time I'm done, I need a nap, I need a trophy, and probably a chiropractor. So if you see me wearing slippers today, just know the socks won the round, but we'll tangle again tomorrow. And yeah, it's bacon and eggs. That's how I roll.
Wow, that was dramatic. Hey, welcome to my live. Welcome to live Q&A. I'm so glad you're here. If you're here, I'm glad you're here. That's amazing. And I've got kind of some feedback here, so I'm going to turn some of my my volume stuff down. So welcome. It is, what is it? It's Tuesday night. It's a Tuesday night or a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, Tuesday. It doesn't even matter what it is, but I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Bryce, and this is Doing Life Today. And it was getting so many questions in the in the comments and whatnot, is because we've kind of grown really quickly here. So I thought I'd just take a night and just come on and just be here live. So I'm actually sitting here right now. We're live, and you can see in the chat wherever you're watching. I think we're live on Facebook and YouTube. But there's questions, or you can drop some questions right in the comments. So if you have any questions for me, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to answer them. I'm going to answer the best I can. It's, one of the things I hope you can appreciate about me is I'm pretty real, honest, don't sugarcoat it, if that makes sense. I mean, I've been living with Parkinson's now for 15 years. So anyway, give me a shout. Let me know. I'm by myself. So if I see me looking over here, that's because I'm looking over where the comments are. So feel free in the comments to just let me know that you're here. Say hey, say hi. We'll shout it out. And I've got some pre-questions that have come in, and I will go through those questions and answer them. But I'd really love to engage with you. That's something that I love to do. And if you know that, if you look in through the comments or whatever, I'm always I'm in there. I love it. So this is something that was a dream of mine, to build a community of people that, there was a really not a crazy comment. I shouldn't say a crazy comment, but there was a comment in the comments. There was a comment in the comments today that I thought was quite interesting. And that was, it really kind of struck me. And we were talking about the video that came out today, and I was talking, I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it yet. So, but anyway, They said that there's too many people on the internet that are, when you start Googling stuff and, if you've been diagnosed with PD or you know somebody who's diagnosed with PD or a loved one with PD, it's tough, right? That's really hard. And there seems to be like not a lot of answers out there. So when I don't know, when we start Googling and we start looking for answers, and how do you know what to trust? How do you know what's real? How do you know what's not real? And when I don't know about you, but when I started looking through, and you know what, give me a, you can hit that little heart button or something, or give me a heart to know I'm on the right page or on the right track here. But I felt like the worst of the worst. Every story I Googled, I'd say, what's the life expectancy of Parkinson's? And you know what, there was one time, and I pulled it up and it said the life expectancy of Parkinson's is 10 years. Okay, well, I'm 40 years old when I got diagnosed, right? I was 40 years old when I got diagnosed. And so I just read something that said my, life expectancy is 10 years. Can you imagine? Like imagine for 1 minute what it's like when you're 40 years old and you're trying to figure out what's going on with you and, stuff like that. And all of a sudden you're kind of going like, oh, wait a minute. Now I've got 10 years. That's what I've got, 10 years. So that means when I'm 50, now that's freaky, right? That's like scary. So that's ridiculous. So I've blown that by another 5 years past that. So I'm at like 15 now. So 15 years, it'll be 15 years in September since I was diagnosed and started my med journey and whatnot. So so needless to say, you got to be really careful of the information you get. So anyway, I'm live. So we are live. We're live here now. If you're on board, and welcome. But do me a favor, just so I know I'm not sitting here all by myself. If you don't have any questions for me, that's fine. But maybe just put something in the little chat, the live chat. So I don't know if the comment section is open or not, but there's a live chat. You can just join it, and just throw in there. Just say, hey, hi, I'm here. I'm in Wababaloo, Canada. Like, I'm like, hey, cool. I know you're not. I know that someone's watching, and we're good to go. So, I'm going to start with a question that I got sent to me, and I'm going to look over it. So again, I'm not ignoring. I'm just looking over to my right here because I need to make sure that I know what I'm doing here. So, let's go to a question that I got in, and I'm going to open up the questions here. And the first question is, there we go. So it said, hey, Bryce, how did you first know something was off before you got diagnosed? How did you first know that there was something off before you got diagnosed? I wonder if I can just copy that and put it in the chat, and then everybody can see it. Let me just look here, copy, and I will throw it up there just so we know that we're all on the same page. So this was the question. Oh yeah, I know what to do. I'm going to go here. Bear with me. This is my first time doing this, so I am far from a professional. There we go. I'm far from a professional, so I'm going to put this here in the chat. This is a question that came in from a viewer or a listener, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to hit the button. Now it should pop up. There we go. All right, thank you. I'm not alone. Thank you, MK. I appreciate that. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so this is a question that came in, and I'm going to hit this other button here because I've got the power. All right, cool. Welcome, MJ. Thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate that. That is fantastic. All right. So here's the question. How did you know that there was something off before getting diagnosed? Okay. So early signs of PD, right? And again, we've all heard, and again, I could be preaching to the choir, but I'm really big on education and advocacy, right? And so I was actually today, it's Parkinson's Awareness Month. So today I did a radio interview on, oh my God, there goes my meds. Sorry about that. Today I did a radio interview on, it was called CBC Manitoba, which is a radio station. And they asked me almost a similar question to that. And it was this, is that, number one is it's not just an old person's disease, right? So all of a sudden I was sitting here one day and this is what was kind of, I don't know if it's kind of freaky or kind of neat or different. I'm not sure. You tell me. But my grandmother had Parkinson's. She got diagnosed probably when she was like 67 or 68, I guess. And she had Parkinson's and she passed away the day before my birthday in September, be 15 years ago in September of this year. On my birthday, or right around my birthday, I started getting a twitch a twitch in my right hand, right? And so, most of us know that Parkinson's doesn't start in probably one side of your body, right or left. And we know that it's a resting tremor, right? So resting tremor, when we're at rest, it was when it's going to tremor, not when we're, essential tremors when we're doing things and moving. So it just started twitching. And so I honestly, at the time, I thought, I didn't really think, let me be honest, Parkinson's disease was not the first thing that popped in my mind. I get a twitch, and Parkinson's. It wasn't like, oh my God, I must have Parkinson's. I got a twitch, and I'm thinking, oh wow, maybe I'm just like really stressed out. Maybe I'm, maybe there's some anxiety running around in my head because my grandmother passed. It was a hard time, and my grandmother and I were very close, and so yeah, I thought it will just go away. I'm just tired. I'm stressed. Whatever it might be. So after the next day, and it was still there, and the next day it was still there, and it wasn't going away. And I noticed, and I'm gonna tell you something that I don't know if I'm that proud of, actually, to be honest with you, that, my grandmother had it and I knew nothing about it. Isn't that awful? I didn't know. I knew she shook. I knew she tremored. I knew, in the later stages of life, she was having trouble walking. I knew that she drooled. I knew that, but that's all I knew. Right. So I didn't know what Parkinson was. I really didn't. And so this twitch kept coming around. So I'm thinking, then it started. I'm like, oh my goodness, I wonder if this is what my grandmother had. So what's the first thing you do? I went to Google. I started Googling it, and I'm like, it lines up. Maybe this is what it is. Hey, this is, yeah, could be. But I didn't. I thought, it could go away, and it's not going to be there. Anyway, about 3 months later, I realized that this thing has not left my body. I've still got this twitch in my right hand, but now I'm starting to feel like stiff, like really stiff, like abnormally stiff. And I thought, okay, again, did I work out too much? Did I carry too many things around? But because of stiffness, it was like a stiffness that when you have a really good workout, and then you've got that everything stiff. So I thought, well, maybe I should go to the doctor. Maybe I should just go get this checked out. So, of course, I went to the doctor, and he started, we went through all these tests. I did the we were doing blood tests, I did an MRI, did CAT scans, did the worst test that I think is the worst test in the world is, and I don't know if you've had this, and if you've had this, let me know you've had this. I think it was the worst. I call it like the electric shock, like I call it like the shock treatment. And I think what it's for, really what I think it is it's checking for carpal tunnel is what I've told after. But anyway, that was the worst one for me. It's like this shoots these shocks all over your body and see how your nerves are going to react to it. It was awful. It was really, really bad. In my opinion, it was really, really bad. And so anyway, my doctor said, I don't know what it is. Everything's cleared, like everything, you're passing all these tests and everything. So I thought to myself, okay, no problem. He said, I'm going to send you to a neurologist. So the first neurologist I saw, he kind of did some tests, and he said, well, what do you think it is? And I'm like, well, dude, if I could diagnose myself, I would. I'm here to. You're the pro, man. You're supposed to tell me what it is. So I'm not here to guess. All I know is that I got a shaking in my hand. And he said, what did he say to me? He said, well, what do you think it is? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? He kept pushing me, and so I said, well, okay.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You don't have to do Parkinson's alone. Inside Bryce's inner circle, you'll find more than support. You'll find a private community of people who get it. Monthly Zoom calls, real conversations, direct access to Bryce, and a place where you can post, chat, get support, and support others, and just be real, without judgment. If you're looking for connection, strength, and a space to breathe, this is it. Join Bryce's inner circle today. The link's in the show notes.
Just saying that, my grandmother had Parkinson's. I don't know if it's genetic or not. And so I know she had a shake in her hand. So I don't know, Parkinson's, I don't know. And he started to laugh. He literally started laughing at me. And I said, what's so funny? And he's like, well, he said, do you know who Michael J. Fox is? And I'm like, of course fellow Canadian, fellow, movie star, of course. Anyway, I said, of course I know who Michael J. Fox is. He goes, okay, here's what's going on. So you're feeling really upset because your grandmother died, and you're feeling kind of disjointed from her. And and you've seen Michael J. Fox, and he's young. So he said, I just think what's happening is in your head, you're trying to connect to your grandmother and feel close to her. So you want to kind of maybe have what she has. So in your head, you're telling yourself you have Parkinson's. But he said the truth is that Michael J. Fox is an anomaly. Okay. And it does not affect, there's chances are like it's off, like it's not going to happen. It does not affect people your age. Okay. And again, this time I'm like 39 at this time. And I was like, okay, so it's in my head. And he goes, yeah. And I said, okay, so what you're telling me is not only do I have this twitch in my hand that now you don't know what it is. Well, I guess you know what it is. I'm freaking nuts. Like I'm crazy. And he's like, no, you're not crazy. And I'm like, well, that's what you're telling me, man. It's in my head. I'm making these things come upon me, which kind of really ticked me off, to be honest. So needless to say, I left, and I was like, that's it. I don't want any part of this. I don't, that's enough of that one. And about 6 months later, I was sleeping, and I woke up in the morning. And when I woke up in the morning, I had my toes on my right side. Okay, so I'm twitched in my right hand, my toes on my right, my toes on my right foot. How about that? My right foot and the toes on my right, they were curled, they were crunched up like that, like just curled right over. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? What's happening? And I couldn't get them apart. Like they were stuck and I couldn't get them apart. I'm like, this is nuts. What is happening to me? And so I'm like, oh man, I better go back to my doctor, my GP, and just tell him like something's really weird here. Anyway, and again, at any time, please, any questions you have, anything. There's nothing off. There's nothing offline. Like there's nothing like off bounds. Welcome here tonight. It's live. I'm live. I'm with you. If you're here right now, throw it in the comments. And if you don't have a comment, just tell me you're here. Say hi. I really appreciate that. Anyway, so I went back to the doctor, and he said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to send you to a different neurologist. I'm not going to send you back to the guy that you don't like, is what he said to me. And I'm like, well, not saying I don't like him. I just felt strange about it. So he sent me, another, wait, 3 months later, I get this thing, and I'm going to another neurologist, and I'm just going to kind of cut to the chase here. At the end of this hour and a half of weird testing, he just said, I don't know what it is. And I have no idea. He said, I don't really know. And I can't diagnose you. I just don't know what it is. And so, and trust me, I'm not saying Parkinson's this time. Like he's like, what do you think it is? I said, I don't know, freaking idea. I have no idea what it is. Like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm not even going to guess here. And so, I left that office with, so one neurologist said I'm crazy because I'm too young to twitch and shake and have Parkinson's. And the other neurologist can't figure it out. And all I know is I still got a twitch. And every morning I wake up with my one foot curled. Okay, I said, I guess I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'm just gonna live this way, I guess. What else? What else are you supposed to do? I don't even know what to say to that. This is a really long answer to hey Bryce, how did you know first something was off? And then long story short, my doctor, and this is a crazy story. Actually, I'm going to tell you you got to hear this story because this story doesn't even make sense to me. So I had my GP, my family doctor, my GP. I went back so now I'm avoiding him. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I'm just going to live with the fact that I'm going to have this like twitching going on and this curled toes. I'm just going to live this way. And so I went back I've had high blood pressure as well. So I had to go back and get my blood pressure checked, like general stuff. And in that conversation, he says to me, how's your foot and your hand? I said, well, you look at my hand. What do you think? Like, is it twitching away? And he goes, yeah, it's twitching away. It's twitching away. He says, I think we should send you somewhere. Like, I think we should send you off. And I'm like, no, like, no, thank you. No, I don't want to. Like, I just don't want to. I'm not like, I don't want to succumb to that. And he said, no, I really think you should. And I'm like, no, I'm not going. I'm going to live this way. And he was like, okay, well, up to you. So anyway, I end up, I leave. And 3 months later, I get a letter from a movement disorder clinic. It says, "Hey, your Dr. Lee has referred you to us, and here's your appointment." And I'm like, "That's son of a gun," Like he did it anyway. He didn't listen to me. And I was kind of ticked at him, but I thought, okay. And I Googled something, and I saw something about movement disorder clinics being being the place to where to go, right? So anyway, I'm like, screw it. I'll just go to this movement disorder clinic. Like, two neurologists said I was nuts or whatever you want to call it. The other one said he didn't know what it was, but I'll just go. I was going to trust my doctor and go. And hey, Dweedles, how you doing? And one of them said, so anyway, so I just go. I didn't tell anybody, and I just go to this appointment. And I get there, and when I walked in the door, the nurse says, I checked in. I'm like, hey, what's your name? I'm Bryce Perry. And she goes, and I got a 10 o'clock appointment. And the nurse says to me, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I know it's a hard day, but I apologize. I'm sorry. And I'm like, what just happened here? Why is she saying, like, she's acting like really like down, like sad. And I don't know, it felt weird. And I said, what's going on? And she said, well, Dr. Lee, your family doctor, was playing golf yesterday and had a heart attack and he died. And I went, oh, what? She goes, you didn't know? And I'm like, no, I had no idea. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have, anyway. So I'm like, whoa, that's bizarre. And then I'm waiting in the waiting room, and that's when, and again, when you go through diagnosis, and those, everybody who's been there say, yeah, or give me there's like a little thing. Do this. I want to just test this. If you're sitting here, please just bear with me. There's like a little thing on the side. There's like little hearts and these little smile faces and stuff. And trust me, if this happened to you, hit that smiley face. Like here, I'll hit one there. Can you see that thing go up there, like that? Just smack it a couple times if this happened to you. And this is what is so funny. This was the first time ever I'm sitting in the waiting room. And the very first time, when you go to a doctor, the doctor's like, you sit in the waiting room, and then when the nurse or somebody will come up to you and they'll say, hey, Bryce, okay, hey, room 2. And they take you down, they put you in room 2, and you sit and wait for the doctor, right? Like that's normal, right? So I'm waiting for that to happen. But the next thing is I see this fellow come out in this white coat, and I'm like, oh, that must be the doctor. And he's like, Bryce. And I'm thinking, man, this is the coolest. This is the nicest place I've ever been. The doctor comes out and walks me to my appointment. That's so cool. Did anybody have that experience if you went to a movement disorder clinic or like a neurologist where someone like they literally came out and met you? Right. And now, of course, now I know. Yeah. And they were getting some hearts there now, or getting some hearts like that. That happened to you. And yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and I tell him now, I'm like, nice trick. Like now I know it, you watching me, you came to watch me walk, you watch my balance, you watch to see if one of my arms was swinging or not swinging, which by, funny things being said is that I didn't even realize. So what did I feel like? What did I see? I did not realize that one of my arms was not swinging when I was walking. I didn't even know. And it was like, sure enough, it was. And so 5 minutes after I walked into that, 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. We got a yep. We got a yep. 5 minutes after I walked into that appointment, he looked up at me and he said, you have Parkinson's, right? And I went, yes, I do. Don't I? I do. Oh my God. Yes. And I had this like unbelievable excitement, like not excitement, but was like, finally, I felt like maybe he believed me, maybe, and whatever. And I'm like, and what a wild way to respond. And I wasn't even like sensing that I was thinking anything else, but sure enough, when I got back to my car, and I'm not going to go into this, you can watch the videos about it, but that's when it hit me. Oh my, holy blank, I've got Parkinson's. What the heck? And that's when it hit me. So, so back to the original question. How did you first know? I knew something was off because shaking to one side, toes curled on one side, stiff as hell, like so stiff, like I felt like 150 years old. And I didn't know, and that was it. And now knowing too is that, yeah, my arm wasn't swinging, and therefore I also had some balance issues. So that was really the main things that really pushed me towards to go get a diagnosis. And I think the worst part of that whole thing, and I don't know, I don't know if this is I don't know if you deal with this as well, but for me, my stiffness is the biggest thing. Like the stiff, I'm just stiff. Like I'm the Tin Man, right? I need the oil to get moving, and that stinks, right? But anyway, so that was that question. So again, that's how I knew. There's so many early signs. I wish that I would have wish I would have picked up a bit earlier, but you know what? Hey, it's okay. We are what we are. And so that's the answer to that. So again, any questions, throw them into the comments, please. Chuck them in there. If you have any questions for me, doesn't matter what it is. Nothing's off limits, right? If I know it, I'll answer it. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it, and maybe I'll go look for the answers, but let me know, if anything you want to know. I don't care if it's personal. It doesn't have to be Parkinson's. Maybe it's something else I can ask, or I can answer for you. Let's see here. MK. Okay. Yeah. I guess what you're saying is you had a PET, or the PET and the MRI. And what we've got here, combining possible emissions to PET and MRI allows for the stimulus imaging of dopamine receptors binding to brain cells. Very nice. Holy smokes, man. There was some big words in that one. There's some big words in that one. And so here's the other thing too. And, you become used to MRIs, and I don't know how it works. Again, I'm in Canada. But I had to go for a yearly MRI. Okay. Just, I don't know, a yearly MRI. So you get very used to, you get used to it. You get used to MRIs, don't you? And that's the least of my worries. An MRI now is like nothing, right? I didn't realize. Okay, I didn't realize I was leaning forward. Okay, so there's the thing too, right? Didn't realize I was leaning forward or shuffling, not walking normal. So exactly. So that, I guess, isn't that interesting? So like I just said, I realized that my hand was shaking because I was visible. I could see it right there, right? I could see it. I realized my toes were curled up because I could feel it and see it right in my hands. But again, I didn't know I was shuffling my feet. And I'll tell you another funny thing. And my parents, I was talking to my parents about it. I was the kid, even as a kid, they said, be careful when Bryce is walking around the house, because he'll trip over a leaf, like he'll trip over a baseboard. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, well, you're always bumping into baseboards and bumping into things. Hey, Art, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Greetings to you as well. So now I'm looking back, and I don't think I really lifted my feet up at all. Like, I think it's been a long time since I actually really walked normal, but the things that we don't notice, and like you said, the leaning forward, I didn't notice it, right? Maybe I thought I only leaned forward when I had too much to drink at night when I was a teenager. I don't know, but I think that is something that those are signs that people need to know, right? They need to know things to look for and things to watch out for. And again, we're all different, but there's a lot of similarities with all of us. So that's a really interesting point, right? And what do we got now? So we got a question here from Ditos. What do we got now? Anyone with skin dryness, my dermatologist told me it's common with PD. Anyone with skin don't. So I don't know if anybody out there, you can comment as well if you've got skin dryness. I don't personally, like, it's just not something that I deal with. But I don't doubt that it can come with PD. I know I have eye dryness. I'm trying to wear contacts, and it's just crazy. I sometimes wonder why they make your mouth drool. Why does it make your mouth drool and your eyes dry? Like, can't we take the drool, put it back in the eyes? Like, maybe that's why your eyes are dry. Your eyes are actually leaking. Maybe it's going. Am I getting crazy? I just think the wildest things. I think sometimes I watch. It's like watching a cartoon with me. But anyway, so that's something that, again, I don't deal with, but you do. Oh, and Art is listening from Kingston, Jamaica. Awesome. Well, hopefully it's nice. I'll bet you it's not snowing in Jamaica. But I'll tell you where I am today. It's snowing, and it's April. I almost thought it was an April Fool's joke, but it's snowing, and I'm not that excited about that. I'm not that excited about that. All right, Niels, what do you have to say here? It's my eyelids and my forehead. Okay, so yeah, I will contest to that. You know what? I'm going to talk myself out of what I just said, because I have right here between my eyes, like right in here, here and here, right here and here, right here, so dry, and again dry around here as well, and it gets super my skin. I can almost like scratch it off. So there you go. Never even thought about it. Never thought about it. So maybe that is it, and that's where I get it, right in here. Very cool. And West Virginia, awesome. Is WV West Virginia? Okay. All right. Well, now we're the same. So we both have that. So right between there, and that's where I get it. So I'm assuming that's something we have in common. So that's pretty amazing. Oh, what have we got? Oh, wait a minute. Who do we got now? Got another one. Yep. Skin dryness and runny nose. LOL. Hey, from Australia. Oh my God. Look at this. Look at this. West Virginia. Guess what? we got Australia, we got Jamaica, we got Canada. That's amazing. I love that. I mean, welcome, Joanne. That's fantastic. And the runny nose thing, I'm mad. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe you can. Maybe you don't know the difference. My nose, I'm ready to chop the thing off some days now. Driving me bananas. It's stuffed and then it runs. And then it's stuffed and then it runs. Like, give me a break. All right. Oh my God. No, look at this. Glenn and where are we? Glenn and Jeannie from Lincolnshire, England. Wow, we're circling the go. Welcome. Wow. I don't know what to say. I'm blown away right now. You know, when I started doing this, Florida, my God, Florida. I used to live in Florida. I lived in Jacksonville, Florida for 10 years. Welcome. So, you know, we got United States, we've got Canada, and we've got Jamaica, we got England, we got Australia. I never ever once thought that I'm humbled. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I really, really do. It's amazing. Thank you for being here. Again, anything that you want to ask me, you ask away. I've just kind of left this myself open. I do have questions that were sent in, you know, but that's why I just wanted to be here. If there's something we could talk about, yak about, and do it. And what's this now? Runny nose too. Runny nose. Thought it was my allergy. Oh my God, allergies. Another Florida. Look at the Floridians. Are you guys here? Because I used to live in Florida. Welcome, Paul. Welcome, Paul. Hey, it's interesting. You think about what I just said. We got, Australians. Aren't we all in some type of weird trade war right now? Awesome. Amazing. We've gone international. We have gone international. That's amazing. I love it. It's so awesome. And I just think, isn't it interesting that we're sitting here today all around the world and all kind of dealing with the same thing and thinking the same thoughts and seeing what we have in common and don't have in common. And to me, it's quite interesting. And it's quite exciting. I'll tell you about a little bit about my day today. Yellow heart red there. I love it. Love it. So I did a radio interview and a television interview. And I'll be honest with you, the television interview, I was so upset. I was so mad because they kind of tell me a couple of the questions they're going to have. And I'm all prepared. I'm ready to go. And they're like, what's the one thing that you don't want to talk about? And they always ask you, what do you don't want to talk about? And so one thing I said, like, I'm not qualified to talk about where it comes from, right? Why? How do you get it? Like, what do you get it? Because, and again, just so you know, I am the associate director of community engagement and outreach for Parkinson Canada, which is the national organization here. So I have some authority, right? I've got some stuff. And the one thing that we always say is that when it comes to like, where's it come from? The line that we're supposed to use is that, we're not 100% sure. That's why we need more research and more dollars for research go. But, most of it leads to genetics and environmental. Okay. And so that's, but anyway, because it's Parkinson's Awareness Day, we're trying to bring awareness and stigma and, to get into it. And so, so they always say, so, well, let's not get into that. Let's talk about this, that let's bring awareness to the fact that, if you get diagnosed with Parkinson's, it's not a death sentence. So, a diagnosis is not a death sentence. That you can still live a healthy, productive life, right? There's some changes you have to make, and we got to bring that, and we got to make sure that we get more out there, more programs, and more services, and more accurate information, so people can live a good life and live a life to the best of that we can. Because I still believe that, and I know that, and I believe it. I'm a testament to it. And what does she lead with? She's like, hey, you were diagnosed at 40 years old. And it's, what was that like? And I'm like, oh, it was great. Like, it was awful. It was terrible. It was, and I tell a little bit of the story, and she says, make sure you tell your story in like a minute and a half. And for me, that a minute and a half, give me a mic. Well, anyway. So the very first question she says is, okay, so Bryce, let's get into this. Okay. So what causes Parkinson's? And I kind of, I'm like, really? Like, we're going here? And then she goes on to ask me all these other questions that weren't on the list. So I was like kind of ad-libbing a little bit, and it was awful. But it was good. It was good because you know what? We got out there. We got advocacy. We got the word out. We're like, hey, this is, we need advocacy there. And then I did a radio interview after that. So this is, again, now it's just like 2 days in a row where I'm doing like a whole bunch of all these things. And the radio interview was amazing. was amazing because I could tell she was interested and she wanted to know more. And I was, so again, love doing that stuff. And then that's kind of what I thought my lot would be. I don't even know how I got down this path, but that's where we got. Anyway, what is this now? Hi, Bryce. Let's see what this says here. Oops. Sorry. If somehow your thing runs away, your thing runs away. If your comment disappears, trust me, it was not on purpose. Okay. Hi, Bryce. Thank you for the show. Incredibly informative. I'm a physiotherapist. No, is that a psychotherapist? I'm sorry, a psychotherapist. And I've worked with both individuals with Parkinson's and family members caring for loved ones of the disease. Amazing. And I don't know what to call you. So I call you like A Linko, but thank you for what you do. I mean, I love, man, that's just, thank you for what you're doing. Oh, and hold on. In your experience, what do you think are the most important psychological or emotional aspects to explore in therapy for those affected by Parkinson's? That is a great question. And I would say this. And one of the other, and I'll tell you, this is not just from me, not just from my personal experience, but also from my work experience. So one of the teams that I run for Parkinson's Canada is called an information and support team. And we have a live toll-free number for Canadians to call, that they can call and get support, information, resources, referrals, things like that. So I'm privy to the fact of what people are calling about and for. And especially since COVID, this is quite interesting, I think one of the greatest things and one of the biggest things, and there's some of it's misunderstood and some of it's like we need to know, but the apathy, okay, the depression / apathy side of this disease, okay, is huge. It's huge because we have many caregivers, and if you're a caregiver, God bless you, love you, thank you for what you do. I mean, it's tireless, and I know being a caregiver is frustrating. I know it takes great patience, and I respect that so much. But there's so many caregivers that call that just like I've had it. Like, this diagnosis is an excuse to be lazy. That's what they say. There's an excuse to be lazy, and so our team would like, well, tell what's going on, what's happening, and they're like, they lie on the couch all day. They one day they're great, one day he takes out the garbage, one day he hits the grass, takes out the garbage, goes to work, does all this stuff, and his normal self or her normal self, and the next day, they're on the couch, and why are they so lazy? And it's like, my gosh, that. One of these things that are hard to explain and they're almost sound impossible is some days are good, some days are bad. Well, when's the bad day hit? Don't know. When I wake up, it hits. And look at that. I just saw it. So just one sec. And I'm Lico. Illegal. This one, that's a caregiver right there. Hi, honey. Thank you for joining my life. Thank you. That's amazing. That's my wife. Just celebrated our first anniversary. So amazing. Love that woman. But anyway, so that's a really misunderstanding, is the apathy behind it. And if you ask, if we do a straw poll right now, how about we do this? Anybody who has Parkinson's, again, on the right-hand side, there's like a little, let's do this just for fun. There's like these little emojis. You'll see like the hearts on the side. They're like big. There's one that looks like fireworks or like a party thing. And if you can see that roll across your screen, if you're on the live, how about we do this? If you have off days where you feel tired, exhausted, frustrated, and have no idea why and cannot predict it's coming, hit that little button right there. Let's see if any of those things fly up and down, just as an example to show you that it just happens and there they go. Right. So that's something that is and it's hard. And when somebody says to you, why aren't you doing this or why aren't you doing that? That's a tough thing. It's really, really tough. Second to that, the other side to it is isolation, right? Parkinson's is such an isolating disease. If you agree with that, hit the heart button on that. The isolation is so hard. And so many people, we tend to isolate because, number one, am I going to embarrass somebody if I go outside when I'm looking like this? Or am I going to get if you go through just read the comments from the videos and just watch and see what people say, and you'll see them say like, well, I didn't want to go on a trip because what if I'm too tired? I'm gonna let my family down because I'm not gonna, we're gonna pay all this money, go over here, and I'm gonna have this day where I can't do anything, and it's a waste of money and a waste of time, and it's, oh my gosh. And so we're so worried about what's going to happen or what could happen or what's going to be, that it's debilitating. Or we're embarrassed of our symptoms. I can't go sit in a restaurant because I don't want people to stare at us, or I don't want my people that I'm with to feel awkward because I'm shaking while I'm eating, and things like that. So then we tend to isolate. We tend to go in ourselves and stay in ourselves, and we can't do that. We can't do that. That's dangerous, and that's why excuse me, that's why hello living with Parkinson's. How are you? Where are you from? That's why excuse me, that's why I'm such a big promoter of going to support groups, or going into a group, or being active, seeing people, doing something, even this, getting involved, watching, looking, hearing another side to the story, hearing the story that it's going to be okay. You're going to live. You can still live productive. Hearing the good stories, not just the bad stories, and isolating ourselves in. So those are, to me, the main things that we come across and we do. And honestly, I was 5 years in, I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to see people. I wanted to stay away. It was just what I wanted to do. So I'm hoping that answers your question. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm hoping that we're going to get that. But again, anybody, throw it in there. Anything you want to know. We've talked about dry skin now. We've talked about, and that was a great question, and thank you for that. And it talked about what are the biggest challenges and emotional challenges. I think one of the other things that, if no one else is going to ask me questions, I'm going to keep answering them so I can talk all night. But one of the other things too that I know it's frustrating for me. And it's like an oxymoron thing where people say, you don't look like you have Parkinson's, or maybe you don't have it as bad as they have it, or, oh, well, maybe it's better you got that than something else. And it's like, come on, man, that's awful. Like, that is awful. Agitation. Yeah. The agitation, the frustration, it can eat at you, right? It can eat at you. It really, really can. And that's tough. That's tough. So here's a great question in the comments, and I'm gonna take a straw poll before I answer the question. Does anybody know what dystonia is? And if you do, or if anybody doesn't know or does know, and the reason I'm asking that is because I feel like I get asked a lot about dystonia, and I feel like there's some people, like it's different for everyone, if that makes sense. So I'm going to put it up there, and that's just from Paul. Paul, thank you very much. Do you have dystonia? So this is my relevance of. There we go. Okay, I muted myself. How do you like that? So this is my thing with dystonia, right? So do you have dystonia? And that's not involuntary movements, right? And it's more that swaying, that kind of where it's kind of moving in different ways. And if you feel it's different than that, and you've heard it's different than that, you let me know what you think it is. But that's what I think it is, and that's the answer to that question is. And the psychotherapist is really going to love this answer. So, so lean into this one, because I have this. Yes, I can. I'm going to answer your question first, Paul. Yes, I can. I can. And yes, I think I can control it. Now, when I have it a lot is when I take too much levodopa. And does that happen often with Bryce? No, it doesn't. So I don't say that willy-nilly and think, hey, I just take too much levodopa and I do it. But I know that I've overdosed. And when I would do that is when I thought I took my meds, or I thought, oh, maybe I missed my meds because I don't feel it, and I take more, and then I realize I had a little bit too much. I really start to sway. They start moving a lot, right? And I don't want to be careful so you won't hear me, but it's a lot of like I got this thing and I do this thing, and my hand does this wild. This is my hand does. Okay, so if I let it go, this is my hand wants to do. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Okay. Like my hand my wife says that looks like I'm like rolling coins. So this is what my hand does. Okay. And I'm well medicated right now, but I just let it go. This is what happens. And then and then I could, but I can stop it. So you can see the tremor, my fingers still do their things. And this is fully medicated, but it's not doing that rolling anymore. And so I can control that. Take it or leave it. That's just saying me, but I can control it to a point. But that's what my body wants to do. And my legs want to do that too. My right side of my legs just go wild. They want to just have a party. And maybe it's just a Bryce thing, but Bryce, I don't know. Bryce doesn't want to have a party right now. So Bryce just stays as still as he possibly can, or he tries to protect or hide it. Where I have all these hides, and I'm sure you do as well. The hides where you can literally have one hand under your, let's say, under your thigh when you're sitting down to hold it in place, and making sure that it's sitting there nice and still, and or holding your hand, holding your hand. So I'm always like this. So I'll be standing there just kind of holding my hand, and then they're holding my hand. Or if I'm laying down, I'll just I'll hold on to my foot, my toes, and legs. Yeah, legs at night, legs. Yeah. And nighttime's off. During the night, everything's off limits at night, because I don't know, kind of crazy dreams. I can roll around, I can flip around, I can do, my whole body just has a little party in the bed. And Art's saying the toes, and Paul asked question, Deedles. I know that's not your name, Deedles, but anyway, legs at night, absolutely, toes, got it, everything. And so definitely, but for whatever reason, I feel like I can control it. And I don't know if I'm scared of getting to I wonder. And it's so funny that you brought this up, because my wife and I actually talked about this last night, because I said, she asked, and she'll give me a big heart on that one too. I know. She asked me, do you think that you're afraid to let it go? Because once you do, you'll never be able to control it again. And I'm like, I really don't want to control it. I'm not embarrassed of it. I know I've had this thing for 15 years, so I'm beyond embarrassed, right? I'm beyond the vain things gone. I'm not the young looking stud I was anymore, as I was when I was a young guy. So I'm beyond worried about what I look like. Okay. It's not about that. But so there is some element of control in there, but I know the day this coming where it's gone. And I know that if I'm truly relaxed, and this is what I think. I think that holding back your symptoms, okay, holding back your symptoms, and do me a favor, if you think you can hold back your symptoms, I don't know, put something in that I know, just like give a thumbs up. If you think you can hold back your symptoms, just give me a thumbs up and see if it's just me. Okay. But I kind of think you can, because a lot of caregivers tell me, or ask me all the time, why, when we go to the doctor, when I go for my 6-month or my 3-month movement disorder neurology appointment, why does he or she act so good? And I'm like, what do you mean act so good? They're just good. They just walk in there like nobody's business. Where the day before they were shuffling through. It's like, why do they put on their best performance at the doctors? And so for me, that tells me that it's not just me that can kind of hide my symptoms if I need to hide them for a little bit. And again, some of us might not be able to, and some could. And there's mostly, like that. And that's what I mean. Mostly, and maybe early on. And if you got it early on, you could do it better then than you can now. I don't know, but we can. And so, but here's my theory. And it's so cool we're talking about this, because I thought of this last night. My theory is this. I think that trying to resist and hold and avoid is actually way more work for us than letting it go. And I think that plays into me being exhausted at the end of the day. If you think about it, you're spending the entire day where either consciously or unconsciously, and I think mine's unconscious. I don't purposely do it. Like, okay, today I'm going to fight off this tremor. But I think I've just got used to just kind of just being, Irving, Art says sometimes, yeah. I think sometimes, that's what I mean, right? I don't mean all the time. I don't mean every time, but sometimes I think we can. I think we can play it a little bit. I think we can stop them for a little bit. We can kind of really buck up if we have to. And anyway, that point being is, I believe though that must be so hard on our bodies, right? Like it must be so, like we're actually fighting this thing all day long, or whatever it might be, fighting all day long. You can tell, like, hear my voice right now. My voice is getting a little bit raspy. Some would call it sexy, but no, it's getting a little bit raspy, and that's really it's getting tired because I've been doing interviews all day and I've been talking all day and it's so you can tell. So it's getting tired. So I'm thinking my body must be the same way, right? Um, yeah, I know what you're saying. What's that say? Yeah. Hey, Dolores, how are you? Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I feel exhausted. Yeah, exactly. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and did I watch the Michael J. Fox documentary still? I did. I absolutely did. Um, I did. And so that's what it is. Okay. Yeah. No, what you're saying, feeling exhausted. Okay, cool. And what's now? We got another one here. What about the cognitive issues? Forget, stall. Oh, really? Yeah. Tell me about it. Those are those little motivational morning things I do. Those are like real things. I don't just make those up. And it's kind of what pissed me off that day or that week. And so I have a lot in there about forgetting what I was going to say next, right? Or just stalling out. And I'll be honest. Okay. It's just me being vulnerable. That freaks me out. Like doing this at first, it's like I love doing this because I love being around people. Like I do. Like I could do this all day. I can sit around and do this all day. But half of me is kind of going, yeah, but what happens if? Like what happens if all of a sudden you just like well, guess what? If that happens, it happens. And you know what? I'm kind of thinking that most people that are going to be in here would be okay with that and understand it and have grace with that. So I got to that point. But anyway, but it's frustrating. Oh my Lord, it's frustrating. And I've done it in some of my podcasts and videos where I'm literally, and I think the one that most people commented on where I was like, I had someone in my life that was saying that wanted me to, like, I had been diagnosed with Parkinson's and someone in my life wanted me to have a second and a third and a fourth. And I sat there. I could see the word. I've used the word a million times. I knew the word. I could see it in my head. I knew it, but I could not tell my mouth to say it. It would not come out. And it was opinion, right? Like a second and a third and a fourth opinion. And it's opinion. It's opinion. How opinion? I've said it since that day. I've said it. I must say it 20 times a day. Opinion. I've got an opinion. I know the word opinion, but what the heck? And it just floors me. One of the things that I used to do that I thought I was really, really good at is my memory. I remember things because I'd always put people, and if we need me, and as we become in relationship, I'd be like Dweedles or whatever. Hey, Dweedles, and I'd know the real name, but I'll still call them Tweedles. I associate things with things. I'd call people. I'd have nicknames for everybody. And there was a joke around the office. Actually, there's a joke at Parkinson Canada around the office because we have 17 Michelles. And so I mean, me remembering who's who and that's Michelle, and you say Michelle and they all say what. So I just start making names up. There's a really nice, beautiful woman. She's such a beautiful spirit, and she's got a purple streak in her hair. So, but so I call her PH, purple hair. And I'm like, hey, so I'm saying, hey, we need Michelle. So I'll go like, hey, I need John, Michelle, Corinne, and PH, and I need you to go over there. And they're like, and she's like, well, that's me. And so I could relate and I could do that. And that thing freaks me out because it's just disappearing. I'm losing that ability. It's like my superpower. It's going away. And those things really, really get on me. And so, yeah, the cognitive issues are stonky. LOL, my husband finishes my thoughts. Yeah. Hey, your husband finishes your thoughts. Like, good for, like, he's good. Sometimes you're really glad he's there. So other times you're like, you know what, I got this, right? Don't finish that thought. It's a bad thought. But that's a very frustrating thing. So it depends. Like some things will frustrate you more than they'll frustrate me. Some things I don't even care about that'll probably frustrate the whatever out of you, right? And it's just what I think it's like what matters most to you. So I speak for a living. That's what I do. And so if you're going to attack my voice, you're going to attack my memory, that makes me mad, right? I had the worst handwriting growing up and still I was the worst. So they're like, hey, you got Parkinson's, your handwriting is going to be bad. I'm like, it can't get worse. I could give a damn. I don't even care this thing shakes that much because it's not a big deal to me. But you attack something that's going to affect me. That's when I get frustrations, right? It just drives me bananas. And what does Dweedle say? Have you ever been listening to an old song? You know the words, but they don't come out right. They don't come right. Exactly. Songs they've been singing for decades. That's that frustrating thing. Hey, it's something you know them. And you're like, bah, da, da, da. for me, songs, my wife can pick up like anything. You're like, hey, what was the theme song for this television? She just belts it out. She'll just belt things out. And I'll be like, hey, I know that one. And I'm like, that. And it's like, what the heck is the next line? And it's just not there. And yeah, and that stuff that can get you. So back to our psychotherapist back there, that's some of the things that does. And so those frustrating moments. And so how do you deal with them? I guess that's the bigger question is, it's, I think there's value, excuse me. I think there's value in knowing that we're not alone. There's some comfort there, right? There's some comfort. For me, I deal with it with humor. Like I said, that's not, it's, I've always just kind of been that way. I'll just like kind of make fun of it, and then that's how we deal with it. But um, I think there's so much value that I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. That someone else is going through what I'm going through, and maybe we can laugh about it together, and maybe we can share that together, and maybe it can help through that. The reality is, I'm still here. I'm still talking. I talk slower than I ever did. And some of you might think I talk fast. You should have seen me back in the day. Back to all our Florida people online. I used to travel around Florida. I was all over the place doing things on stage and stuff. And I talk so fast, like fast. And so it slowed the way I speak down. It's slowing the way I read down, right? It slows things down. And so what do? I just have to adjust to that. I have to adjust to the fact that it's going to be a bit slower. And so I now, even when I'm going to, speak and do something, I have to think ahead and plan for it and prepare for it and understand it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Right? What do we got here? So we got some more here. I'm going to get some more comments in here. We're getting close up to an hour. What do we here? Yes, comfort knowing others really understand you. Right, Dolores? Like, I agree. Like, it's like, I said to someone I don't know if I said this on an interview today or not, or I was just said this to someone in person. I can't remember, but you really don't know what it's like unless you have it. You really don't. We can try to explain it. We can try to cover the basis, but you just don't get it. You just don't know. So to know that somebody else is kind of experiencing that loss or that change is it's comforting. It's comforting to know that, and then to see people that have gone through it. I mean, I'm reading some of the comments, and some of you guys are just amazing. Like, hey, I'm 80 years old. I'm like 80 years old, and you're doing that. That's fantastic. That makes me excited. Like, I'm like, wow, I got so many more years left. So I appreciate that. I really do. I really, really do. Or even watching the same program for years on, and it all of a sudden cannot remember what channel it's on. Exactly. What is it? I'll forget the name of a show that I know. Like, my wife and I'll like binge something. Hey, we're going to binge this, and we talk about it, and we're all over it. And then I'll be like, hey, do you want to watch that show? We just watched, like, and gone. It's gone. Gone. Jeannie says Parkinson's is no great shakes. I like that one too. It's no great shakes. I love it. I love it. And Paul, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm humbled to do this. This is just, let me tell you this. So when I couldn't work at my job anymore, my corporate job. So I was the general manager of a automotive supply company, and it covered 3 provinces of Canada: Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Northwest Ontario. And there was about 60 stores, retail stores. I had 60 retail stores, 3 DC. I had franchisees. I had probably about, under my realm of, I had managers and sales forces and everything else. But I actually had like tons of people. Anyway, when I couldn't do that job anymore, and that was it. I was tired. I knew mentally I couldn't do it anymore. Physically I couldn't do it anymore. And I was like semi-retiring. I went, I thought to myself, what do I want to do? I said, well, you know what? I've always been a motivational speaker. I've always put on seminars. I've always done these things. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Okay. This was 21, 22. Can't remember. I'm really bad with the years, by the way. And if you ever, when you're watching the podcast, I might say, hey, in 2022, I did this. And the next podcast, I might be 2021. I didn't do it on purpose. That's just, I don't know, it's weird. But I thought I'm going to start so I started doing a podcast. Sorry, a YouTube channel, motivational, how to live your best life, how to do all this stuff. And I had Parkinson's. Of course, I had Parkinson's. I had it for 10 years at that time when I started that, or almost more, 11 or 12 years. And and I started doing that. And then I went on, I did Instagram, and I put it on, what's the other one? TikTok, like TikTok, you know, where all the kids are. And they were just doing nothing, like just I was just having fun. But I'm like, hey, I'm gonna be a this, you know, motivational person, you know, inspire people. And so I started doing that. And my wife, my wife, and my daughter took one of my videos that was a about, you know, living your best life, and sometimes you have to chase a different dream, and that dream is dead. And my daughter and my daughter and my son's girlfriend, they cut it up and they made it look like a breakup thing, like, you know, when you're dating somebody, and you know, when it's over, time is over. And they put it on my TikTok page, and it went viral. I have like on TikTok and Instagram, on this 1 8-second reel, has over 1 million views on each one. And then I blew up. So I don't know, I have 60,000 followers on TikTok and 40,000 on Instagram, all over these like dating things. So I just started following the trend of the dating trend and doing that. And anyway, needless to say, about a year later, I started with Parkinson Canada. I started doing a bunch of stuff, and so I just kind of walked away. You know, just stopped doing it. I never ever talked about Parkinson's. I never got into Parkinson's. And it was November of this year, and I was sitting with the CEO of Parkinson Canada, Karen Lee, and I just had hosted a PDIQ and U event, and so we were talking, and she says, "Hey, you're an influencer, man. You have a lot of followers and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know, blah blah blah." And she goes, "How come you never post about like Parkinson's? Like, why don't you ever do that?" And I'm like, well, I'm busy. We've got a lot of work to do." And she's like, "You should do that. You should do that. You help people do it. Like, you know, do it on your spare time. Do it. Just get out there and help people." And I thought, okay, you know what? That's good advice. I'll take that, Karen. That's great. So around December or January, like a couple of months ago, I just started posting, and this is what's happened. It just went wild and crazy and exciting, and starting to build a community. And like, as you saw today, we're all across the world on today, you know, from Jamaica to England to Florida and West Virginia and Canada and just Australia, like amazing. So very humbled by the fact that, so I'm humbled by that. And thank you for that compliment. It means a lot to me. I don't run on compliments. I don't mind them, but I really just have a heart to share what I've shared, share what I can share. I can tell you what I've gone through. I can tell you things I've learned along the way. I can tell you that I'm hooked up, you know, with a national organization who again, you know, like I do PDIQs with Parkinson Canada and Michael J. Fox. So I know people, and so I'll go look for answers too. I'll go look for answers. Davis Finney, hey, good comment. That's a great comment. Exactly, great resource. Davis Finney Foundation. They have a resource called Every Victory Counts. If you're in the United States, Every Victory Counts. I recommend it. It's like a Bible. It's one that you get and you put it on your shelf, and you can always go look, you know, for symptoms, and you can kind of what you're dealing with that day and go find it. And we Parkinson Canada does that for Canada. We have the Canadian version of Davis Finney. So great resources, things that we should always have. So I'm thankful for that. And what's that? What's this one? I'm very comfortable on the site. Thank you. Well, thank you. That's all I wanted. Just a real place that we could just hang out, you know, where I could, you know, again, share what I want. And that's why, you know, and you guys are crazy. Thank you. There's no such community in Jamaica, and I'm so happy to find this channel. Well, I'm happy to have found you guys, because I you know, you're letting me, by what you're doing and watching and sharing and liking and stuff. Because when you share and like the videos and make comments and stuff, YouTube shows it to more people, and we find more people with Parkinson's that are like, oh, hey, I just found you. If you look at the comments, I just found you. So you know, you're thanking me and I'm thanking you, because I love doing this. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, and so thank you for that. So this is really cool, and cool we can hang out, and I hope we can do this a lot more often. I hope we can even do it in different forums. I know even though YouTube has changed some of the ways around, where I think we can respond differently, and even, you know, bring you guys in for a chat if you want to come chat, stuff like that. So, you know what, I think it's growing. I think we can do some really cool things, and I think I'll experiment and try new things, that other ways that we can connect. I think that would be great, and it's wonderful. And what do we got now? This is something in Chinese here, so it's like, is that okay? On the tube, John Pepper insists he cured Parkinson's by fast walking. So John Pepper insisted he cured Parkinson's by fast walking. Do you believe? Who's to say? I don't know. I'll tell you what. If that's what it is, if it's fast walking, then let's go. Bring it on. Let's go. Like I'll run right now if you want me to run. So I have a little bit of hard time with that, but who's for me to say he did or didn't? You know. I'm kind of old school when it comes to that. I'm just kind of old school. I just feel like kind of reality, call it reality where there's reality. And, you know, I'll never put anybody down or call some, if I don't know. If I know, I know. If I don't, I don't. And I don't. But I just know that if it just took me to walk faster and that would do it for me, then holy smokes, man, I would line all you up right now and we would go for a fast walk. That's just my thoughts on that. Thank you for posting that, though. I do appreciate that. Where are we going now? Yeah, I'm 58 years old, been diagnosed 6 years. Well, welcome, Art. Welcome. I am 54, diagnosed at 40, so 15 years, but that's great. Thank you. I appreciate you, Art. You are a good person. Hope I can do this again. Well, thank you, Dolores. You are great people, too. I think you're all amazing and wonderful, and I really enjoyed hanging out with you. And I'm getting really tired, so I think we're going to call it a day. But thank you so much for joining me. This was amazing. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Your attitude. Let me see now. Your attitude has really inspired me to start my own channel and podcast. I will put my first video up. Right, attaboy. All right, I love it. Make sure you let me know. I think I'm your first subscriber on YouTube, so I'm with you. I mean, the more we can do and get the more word out there we can get out there, I think that would be amazing. What do we got now? I recently found your channel and posted comments a couple of times. I will follow and comment more. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You're making me feel, you know what? I think I might have a good night's sleep tonight. That's my goal, but I appreciate it. I just, just know that I'm just a real person. I'm another you. You know, we all have a story. We do. And so I'm nothing special, nothing new. I'm just telling my story, and I want to maybe help tell yours too. So oh God, you guys are okay. I'm going to keep going here because I just love this. Thank you. Well, thank you, MK. Appreciate that. I think we're all different symptoms and different things help them. And so absolutely living in old Florida. I totally agree with you. You know what? And so that's what I mean. Take what works, take what doesn't, or don't take what doesn't, but take what works, or try it out. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. What do we got now? Okay, Needles. Good night, Bryce. Till next time. Good night. Okay, good night. Good night. Good night. You are my first subscriber, and I appreciate it. I am. Of course I was. I told you. You said you're going to do it. I went and subscribed. That's me. Oh, yeah, I'm privately subscribed. Yeah. Mine are private. They don't let me because I have too many followers, whatever. But I have subscribed to your channel. I was your first. You had 0, and then you had 1. That was me. But I'll support anybody and everybody. So there you go. Okay, good night, all. Everybody, good night, sleep. I hope you all sleep. Let's say, tell you what, if you're up in the middle of the night, put a comment here, say I didn't make it, and we'll know it. But anyway, thanks, everybody. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Parkinson's may be part of your life, but it doesn't get to define it. Thanks for listening to Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. If this episode moved you, helped you, or reminded you you're not alone, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Want to go deeper? The Inner Circle is waiting. Monthly Zoom calls, 24/7 community, and a direct line to Bryce. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep showing up and keep doing life today.